please welcome back to the stage our director for the evening, Koreeda. The two different families have very different parenting styles, the two fathers especially. And I'm wondering if you think that if the film is trying to say that one particular style is better for the child or better for the family overall, if you could maybe tell us a little bit about that.
あんまりどちらを肯定してどちらを否定するってつもりは実はなくって。
I didn't have any intention of either supporting or negating either style, obviously. As a kid, I would say that I grew up in a household more similar to the appliance store owner. And now I'm privileged enough to lead a lifestyle similar to the other guy. And I think that either side could certainly find their own happiness in their own way. The way I sort of thought of it in my own head is that the architect is more of a pitcher style of father, whereas the appliance store owner is more of the catcher. You know, the pitcher is going to throw the way he wants the pitches, and the catcher is going to sort of receive things and sort of respond.
The architect father, he makes the decision that he wants to have both children, which is sort of the logical thing any parent, I think, would want to do. But it's very interesting in the film because I feel like even though he has very good intentions, what he wants to do is sort of a terrible thing, to take a child from his parents. So is he, in a sense, a villain in the film in that sense?
彼のなんかこうなんだろうな。
So I do think the line really brings out a certain kind of pride and selfishness in that character. And I think it was very effective in that way. When he goes to pick up, the son that ran away and goes to the house, and the other wife kind of tells him, well, we're perfectly fine keeping both of them here. I think I heard a lot of people in the audience laughing, and I think that kind of speaks to how effectively people had sort of reacted against what he had said earlier about taking to both children. So in that sense, I think the characterization was very effective. But on the other hand, I was the one who kind of came up with the idea, that little kind of twist, and so it kind of emerged out of my discussions with the producer about what to do in the plot. And when that idea came up, I felt that it was kind of good for the film. But when people laugh, at the comment later, it does have a little. It ends up being a little bit painful for me too.
Can you tell us a little bit about how you brought this cast together, where you found these actors?
ちょっと変わったケースなんですが、今回は主役の福山さん。
What was unusual in this film is that it kind of emerged not from the story first, but with the lead actor Fukuyama sort of coming to me and asking if we could work together on a film. And so I started thinking about what kind of character he could play, and kind of thinking about what type of father would be right, and then coming up with a plot to fit that. So it was a little unusual in that process. That came first.
When the father returns the envelope to the nurse, what is in the envelope?
あれはお詫びの印として彼女。
The mother had given that envelope to them earlier, and it contained money as that she was giving to him as a penance for what she had done. And in that scene, he's bringing it back to her. But it also felt that it would be an occasion for him to confront her son. And I thought that that would be a very, very emotional moment for him to sort of face up to a lot of these emotions that he hadn't worked out. And I think that's a turning point in that character, too.
So the question is about the director's process in working with child actors and how you direct them and work with them and sort of what challenges they present.
ありがとうございます。Nobody Knows からは
Starting with Nobody Knows, I have been taking a style where I don't give them a script ahead of time. I have the kids come into the set and I tell them what we're going to do verbally. And that's the style I've been taking with kids for about 10 years now. And what I try to do is during the audition process, look at what kind of vocabulary the kids have and to be able to take advantage of the language that they already have with them and to really bring that out. And not everything you're going to be able to use in the film. We look for the ones that are most effective and kind of try to use it that way. The kid in the appliance store, when we auditioned him, the two words that came out of his mouth frequently were, "Oh my God," and "Why?" So Some of the other people in our team were very afraid that he was not going to be good for the role, but I felt that we could actually take advantage of that because you do have kids who can only say 2 or 3 different things, so why not take advantage of it?
The question is about researching these sort of the real life stories behind incidents like in the film, and how the doctor in the film says that in 100% of the cases they switch the kids. Is that accurate?
日本で取り違い事件が頻繁に起きたのは1960年の
It was in the late 60s to 70s in Japan that there were kind of a rash of these incidents where babies were being switched. And if we read through some of the documentation from the time, I found that nearly 100% of the parents in that situation were opting to take the natural babies as opposed to the ones that they had been raising. And this honestly surprised me. But I think that values back then were a little bit different from today. Things have changed, but back then they emphasized bloodlines more. And I think that in thinking about our main character, I thought of him as somebody who had these more patriarchal, old-fashioned, traditional values. And in that case, I felt that it would be plausible for him to kind of have some vestige of that type of value system. And that's why I came up with the idea that he would sort of opt, at least initially, to take back the birth child, the natural child.
The question is about the symbolism of the kite that recurs periodically throughout the film, and what the origin of that is.
僕の中では
For me, flying a kite is one of those symbolic things between a father and a child. My understanding was that most Japanese fathers were kind of teaching their kids how to fly kites. Unfortunately, when I was a kid, my father wasn't around very much, so he never taught me how to fly a kite. So when my daughter, when I walked to a nearby park with my daughter, and we saw another child, a boy, flying a kite with his parents, my daughter asked me, how to go about flying a kite, and I remember thinking, I don't know. I don't know how to teach her how to do it because I never did it myself. And so I lied to her and said, those are for boys only. But in my mind, kites had always been one of these kind of symbolic things, and I decided to use that in the film.